Okay.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our second U Start session. So my name is Caitlin, and I am the recruitment officer for the College of Engineering. And today I'm going to talk to you guys all about academics and re-engineered. So with me in the background, I have Tina, one of your academic advisors, and she's going to be monitoring the chat throughout the session. So if you have any questions or something's not clear, make sure to pop your questions in the chat and make sure that your message is to both of us, so co-hosts or to everyone, just so that she can answer your question throughout the presentation. So let's get started and talk about your guys' degree. So I'm so excited to see a bunch of names that were at our U Start session on Saturday. So welcome back, everyone who got to explore our building a little bit and try out our labs. And welcome to all of the students who are joining our first U Start session. So I'm going to start us off with a quick agenda to show you guys what we're going to be talking about. So the first thing we're going to discuss is your summer top-ups. So these are actually some work that you're going to have to do throughout the summer before you start engineering. Next, we're going to talk about competency-based assessment. So this is the new grading system that we use with your engineering courses. Next, we're going to talk about your weekly schedule, then the program structure. We also have a half-speed option. So if you maybe find engineering a little bit too much, you can choose to do the half-speed option to have a little bit of a lighter load. Next, we're going to talk about class registration, which I'm sure is on a lot of your guys' minds right now. Next is student supports, all the different supports we have available for you, and just as engineering students. So we have a lot of special supports in place for you guys. Hardware is the next thing we're going to chat about. Co-op internship program, key academic policies, choosing your major, getting to campus, and a checklist to make sure that you're all ready to start your studies in the fall. Then at the end, if there's any questions that maybe came up a lot in the chat, I'm going to discuss them verbally for everyone, or if you want, we'll also have an opportunity if you want to raise your hands and ask your question verbally. But remember, anytime throughout the presentation, if you have any questions, pop them in the chat and Tina will get back to you right away. All right, so summer top-ups, the first thing we're going to talk about. So we have this really nice thing in first year engineering that if you maybe don't remember chemistry, or it's been a while since you took math, we have a summer prep course that you can take to help you get up to speed or refresh your memory in those courses. So we have courses available in math, physics, chemistry, English, and Indigenous reconciliation. These are going to be available to you guys in August. So you'll have all of August to complete these, and you need to complete them by mid-September. So a lot of them are considered assignment 0 for some of your courses. And if you're having trouble, teaching assistants will be available in the first few weeks of class. So if you maybe don't really remember math very well, that's okay. We're going to have some people there to help you. Another new thing that we've added this year is a top-up in computer science. Computer science is a new thing we've added to our first year program, and it's really important for a lot of your courses. So if you don't have any programming experience, or maybe you do and it's been a while, you're a little rusty, this computer science top-up is not mandatory like the other ones. It's optional. And that one, there is a small fee to do the computer science course, but if you don't have any computer science experience, we highly, highly recommend you take this top-up, just to make sure that when you do take that computer science course, you have a little bit of experience under your belt and you're not confused in those first few courses. So that one's optional, unlike the other ones. The math, physics, chemistry, English, and Indigenous reconciliation are required. Computer science is not, but we highly recommend that you take the computer science. So those are our summer top-ups. I know a lot of students Last year we were confused if they're mandatory and when those will be available. So watch for them in August. They do take a little bit of time, so don't leave them for September 1st to try to get through all of the summer top-ups. It can be a little bit of work to get through all of them. So I really recommend start those in August as soon as you get them, so you have enough time to complete all of your top-ups. And again, if you have any questions about summer top-ups or anything else we talk about, make sure to pop those questions in the chat, and one of our academic advisors, Tina, is in the chat waiting to answer your questions. So next is competency-based assessment. So this is the assessment that we use in a lot of your first year engineering courses. It is very different than how high school is graded or all other university courses across campus are taught. So kind of the three fundamental pieces of competency-based assessment is chances to try again, no penalty for earlier mistakes, and you're graded on specific skills. So how this works is if you make a mistake early in the course, maybe you didn't understand the material as well as you thought you did, you'll actually be given opportunities to redo that learning assessment and retry those assignments and tests. And another really cool thing is if you maybe get a really low grade your first try and you do great your second try, you're not going to be penalized for making that earlier mistake. So if you got, let's say, 50 on your first try and 100 on your second try, your grade would be 100 for that skill. Another thing that's kind of different about this is you're graded on specific skills. So instead of in a typical course, you're given a long list of just the course. You're expected to just know the course, and that's your grade. What we give you instead is learning outcomes. So we spell out exactly what you need to know and what you need to do to be successful in that course. So each course is going to have learning outcomes. So that might mean if this were a math class, general things that you need to be good at in that course, kind of like the modules you're going to be learning. And then within each of those course learning outcomes, there's root learning outcomes. So what that is it's broken down into different kind of levels of learning. So type A is things that are super easy, really basic, fundamental parts. So your ABCs, your 1, 2, 3s. Your type B questions are a bit more tricky type knowledge, but still fundamental. So if this were elementary class, it's multiplication, addition, things like that. Very simple, kind of fundamental type questions. And your type C is your more advanced. So that's using those basic knowledge and applying them into bigger situations, bigger problems. So you're going to be assessed on your root learning outcomes on things like assignments, quizzes, labs, module tests, and that's how we come up with your grade. So it's not going to be one midterm, one final, and a couple assignments. It's going to be a combination of how well you did in these certain types of questions. So this is an example of how that's going to look for you. So you can see the type A, you just need to pass those. So they're just pass or fail. Do you know your ABCs? Do you know your 1, 2, 3s? They don't affect your course grade at all. You just need to do them. The type B is where you can show that you can pass. So you need to get at least a 50% on the type B pluses and a 70% on the Bs. So that's just, you need to be competent in the addition and the multiplication. And then where students can really set themselves apart and show that they're a really excellent student and kind of get those really great grades is in the type C. So that's applying things to, they're usually a little bit trickier problems and a little bit harder. I'm just noticing in the chat that people are talking about the programming language, and the two you're going to need to know is Python and MATLAB. So if you are really proficient in Python, that's a big part of the course. All right, so next, assessment. So there's a few ways you're going to be assessed to get your grades. The first is module exams. So you may have heard in first year engineering, we actually don't have any final exams. The final exam period is used for additional modules and some really fun courses that we're going to talk about a little bit later. So instead of having final exams, which is how the typical university is kind of assessed, you're going to be assessed with module exams, which in high school, that's maybe like a unit test or a test at the end of kind of a few weeks. So instead of having one big exam, you'll have a whole bunch of smaller exams throughout the year. And then we have the fall and winter top-ups. So what these are is, let's say in your module 1 exam, you bombed it, you did not do well and you're not happy. You will have opportunities to rewrite that exam. Or if there's an assignment you did really poorly on, you'll have opportunities to redo that assignment or do a makeup assignment to demonstrate that you're competent. And the reason why we have those is, at the end of the day, we don't care if you memorized it perfectly the first time. What we care about is, at the end of the day, at the end of the term, do you have the skills that you need to be a successful engineer? And if that takes you 1 try, 2 tries, 3 tries, that's okay. So on some opportunities, you'll have actually up to 5 tries to redo and show competence. And then especially those kind of basic fundamental type problems, you'll have multiple opportunities. And again, your final grade is determined by the best and most recent evidence. So if your first try was very poor and your second, third try was fantastic, that's the grade that we use. So I've heard some people, when they hear about this new way of assessment, they think that engineering is easy, that they don't need to study, that they can just fly through and everything will be super easy. And that is not true. It's still an engineering program. What I've heard some students say is that although there's less pressure on the exams by having one huge exam, there's a lot of little exams. That means a lot of little tests you need to study for. And although they're not as stressful because they're not weighted as much, it's a lot of work to make sure you stay on top of all of that, all the coursework. So it's not easier. Don't expect that you can show up and not study. You still need to study, but this program is here to support you and especially support you if you stumble and if you need to try again. So next, I'm going to talk about your schedule. So this is what the basic structure of your schedule is going to look like. So every single day starts at 8:30. You'll have a lecture or a lab until 10. Every first year student has a common lunch break. So it's either a half-hour lunch break or an hour. And then again, you have another couple courses. And then every single day ends in a help session. So all blocks contain the same set of courses. They all have the same structure as this, and they all have the same breaks and help sessions. So I know there's been a lot of people asking me questions about what the schedule looks like and what the differences is. All schedules are going to look like this. The only difference between them is maybe some of the schedules you'll have math here, some of the schedules you'll have math here, some of them you'll have here. And that's really the only difference between the blocks, is the order and coordination of the courses. Another thing that will vary is the top-up time. So that's your time to redo your tests or redo assignments will vary between the blocks. And also most weeks there's a different spare time. So because we have modular courses, they will have spares and they will end at different times, and week by week your schedule may change. So luckily you'll have access to Canvas, which is a very easy way to see what class you need to be in and what your schedule is like. You don't need to memorize the Excel sheet I'm going to show you in a moment. So you don't need to be worried that it's a little confusing. It's very different than how other university students will see their schedule. But this is really what you need to know and what's really important. I think my personal favorite thing about the schedule is on Fridays, you have this nice break here. So you're done at 3:30. Another thing to keep in mind with the schedule, and if you're planning your evenings, oftentimes exams might be scheduled in the evening. So they might be scheduled during this break time or after. So just keep in mind if you're wanting to work or volunteer or join a student group, is that you may have exams scheduled outside of the green blocks. So this is the Excel sheet that we've posted in Discord, and we'll be posting on our website and emailing to everyone very shortly. So just to run through how this works. So this, I pulled up block 1 and block 4, and there's 12 blocks. So each block is the exact same, no difference between them. The only difference is when the courses are. So you can see that this block has math in the morning, this block has introduction to engineering in the morning. The other difference you'll see between the blocks is when they have natural science. So you can see that this block has physics first and this one has biology first. All students are going to be taking physics, biology, chemistry, and geology as part of their natural science series. So all of those courses will be the same, just the order of them. Everyone has the same break, so that's shown by the green, and then everyone has a mixed tutorial. So the color of the blocks simply just is to help show you between the blocks the same courses, and the numbers just show you that the course is scheduled then. So design 1 is here, and then the lab is going to take that amount of time. So I see a question in the chat that says the top-up classes are mandatory and to be taken in the summer. So there's 2 different types of top-ups. There's the summer top-ups. So those are the prep courses or the high school review you'll do in August. And then top-ups, they should really have a different name because it's a little confusing. The top-ups throughout the year are just your chances to redo exams or redo assignments. So you'll see it's especially later on in the term when you look at the schedules in December, you'll see there'll be time set aside for when you can do your homework and redo exams. So I see another question in the chat. So everyone has the same schedule. Yes, all the schedules are the exact same. They'll all start at 8:30. They all have a common lunch break and they all end at the same time. They all have the same courses. So really the only difference between the courses is if you maybe don't want to have math in the morning is really the only difference between this block 1 and block 4, block 10, block 9. They're all going to be the same. So next question I see about class registration. If you choose block 4, does it stay block 4 for the rest of the term? Yes. So this I'm just showing you is week 3 of block 1 and block 4. So if you register in block 1, that is your block, and it'll be about 50 students that you'll have all of your same courses with all of those 50 students. So all of those 50 students will have math in the morning, and then you'll have introduction to the profession. But some of these courses are quite short. So for example, physics is a very short course. So that one will only be for about 3 weeks. Are the help sessions required for us to do every day, and are they the same as the mixed tutorials? So these mixed tutorials are not mandatory, but we really recommend that you do them. There'll be tutors available. They'll be teaching on mixed sessions. So for example, this one here at the bottom might be talking about math, biology, and introduction to the profession. And there'll be a tutor helping run tutorials on those 3 sessions. So if you're maybe your friend is struggling at math and you want help with biology, you can both go to the same session and get help for the different subjects. All right. Yeah, lots of great questions about the schedule. It's very different than what rest of campus is doing with their schedule. So I know it can be a little confusing because engineering is quite different than the rest of campus. So this is what your schedule is going to look like from September all the way through April. So this chart is showing you when the classes begin and end. So for example, you can see here in math, It runs for almost the entire term, but it ends in early December. Whereas some of these like MATLAB, which is kind of related to computer science, it's quite a short course, or like technical communications, for example, is a very, very short course. And then in your second term, again, like statistics or statics, sorry, runs for almost the entire term. So when you're scrolling through these schedules back here, so for the natural science series, for example, that's going to be running, basically it's 4 courses within this block. So there's biology, geology, chemistry, and physics. That'll just be about 3 weeks. You also get to have two breaks throughout the year, and then a break between the terms. So in November, usually around Remembrance Day, you have a fall midterm break for a week. And then you get a break around Christmas and New Year's. And then you also have another break in the winter. It usually falls around Family Day. And my favorite course that I have a little bit of a video to show you guys later is the major experience. So last year, they some of the disciplines gave the students pizza. It was a fun little course for students to learn about all the different disciplines. So they got to choose 5 disciplines that they were most interested in, and they got to spend a day learning about those courses. All right, so I just heard a question in the chat here. During course signups in mid-June, will we have some sort of guide on what classes we need to enroll in? Great question. So with block registration, you will not be choosing any courses. So this is very, very confusing and would be a nightmare if we expected you to register in each of these courses and make sure they all align and make sure you had all the labs. So a little bit later in my presentation, I'm going to talk about how to actually register for your courses. But what first-year engineering students do is you register for a block. And so what your block is going to contain is all of these courses. So there's 12 blocks, and if you choose block 1, it'll contain all of these. If you choose block 9, it'll be all of these courses. There's really no difference between the blocks, just the order of the courses. So you don't need to worry about choosing any courses. Another thing we have is our half-speed option. So if you are look at that schedule and find it a little overwhelming, maybe you're a Husky athlete and you want a little bit of a lighter course load to train, maybe you want to work, maybe you want to do student groups, whatever your reason is, we have a half-speed option. So the nice thing about this is that you're still considered a full-time student for student loan purposes. So you still have all the credits as a full-time student. You're just taking about half of the main courses. So highlighted in green are the courses that you will take in your first year of first-year engineering. And then all the courses in gray are the courses you'll take in your second year of re-engineer. So your first year is designed to be quite a little bit lighter than your second year of re-engineer to help kind of ease you into it. Another reason why we have the half-speed option is because a lot of these courses have things called pre and co-recs. So a prerequisite is a course you have to take before another course. And another code is a co-requisite, which means you have to take the courses together. So for example, this MATLAB and computer science, you need to take those together because you're going to learn a lot of programming in MATLAB and you're going to need that in computer science. And then you'll use those kind of that knowledge later in CAD, and you also need that in math. So for some of these courses, they need to be taken together. So with that, if you are wanting to remove any courses, so for example, if maybe you just really don't want to take statistics or statics in your first year, make sure to talk to an academic advisor before dropping any courses, because they can have implications for your next semester or for other courses that you're taking. So we have the half-speed option because it's a nice kind of fixed amount of courses that you can for sure take that doesn't really kind of mess up your schedule. So just be really aware of that if you're wanting to make any changes to your schedule. So I see another question in the chat that I think is a really great question. In the natural science, do we have to take all four or do we only choose one? So this natural science series is designed that you get kind of a flavor into all of the natural sciences. So in the previous program, we would make you choose one, which would actually have kind of bad implications if maybe you didn't take geology, and you maybe would have been a great geological engineer, but you never took that course, never kind of realized that you're interested in that. So we make you take all four. They're just a 1 credit course in each of them, and they're very short, very condensed, just kind of an introduction to each of the sciences. And they just run for 3 weeks. So you will have to take all of these little courses, but they're not, it's not full biology or a full chemistry course. All right, what is CAD? It is listed as a class in the winter semester. So CAD, if you look at these numbers at the bottom here, it's part of General Engineering 133, which is part of a technical communications course. So CAD is computer assisted design, which is a program that like architects and engineers use to design anything. So we teach you how to use that. It's actually a really, really important skill that you can put on a resume and you'll use throughout your career as an engineer. So that's part of your technical communications course. So you can see all these courses that are in this kind of light yellow. Those are all actually part of GE 133, that they're all part of the same course. All right, why does each block say only one natural science? So if you see back in this, in here, you will be only taking one natural science at a time, but they will switch throughout the fall term. Great questions, keep them coming. All right, so another thing I really want to touch on with your schedule, with dropping courses, and making any changes to your schedule, is the rest of campus has withdrawal dates. So these are dates that if you want to make changes to your schedule, either maybe taking a reduced course load or removing some courses, you can remove the course by a certain date and get your tuition back. Because our schedule is a little crazy, so you can see like this technical communications course ends pretty early. These natural sciences are actually 4 little mini courses. Each of them will have a different drop deadline. So make sure to be aware of these if you're wanting to make any changes to your schedule, because some of them come up very, very fast. So for example, this GE 132, you have to make a lot of your changes by early September if you're wanting to get a tuition credit. So kind of what this means is if you're registered in the full course and you realize that maybe half speed is a better fit for you, make sure to make that decision sooner than later, just so you can get your tuition back, just so that you're not making that decision quite a bit later, because you won't get all of your tuition refunds back. Another thing to keep in mind, like I was saying before, if you're dropping any courses, there's a lot of co and prereqs. So for example, if you drop this GE 122, you won't be able to take GE 123 in the winter term. So dropping one course in a lot of cases actually might mean dropping 2 courses. So just keep that in mind if you have if you want to make changes to your schedule. And the best thing to do is talk to an academic advisor and make sure to talk to them as soon as you're maybe wanting to make some changes. Don't wait until the last minute to go talk to someone. All right, another question I saw about the natural sciences is, so we choose which natural science we want to take first. Not really. So the block you choose will determine the order of your natural sciences. So if I go back here, block 1, you're starting with physics, and this block 4, you're starting with biology. So that's the only difference between those. All right, so student supports. So at USask Engineering, we have a lot of student supports available for our students. So the most popular one that I heard over and over again about talking to our re-engineered students last year, their favorite thing almost all of them said that study squads was kind of the highlight of their first year experience. So what these study squads are is you're within your block, and then within your block, you're also put into a study squad. So that study squad is a group of about 10 students that you have all your classes together, and you can study with them, do your homework. Our professors really try to encourage you to work with these students and do your homework together. They're also, what I've heard, the first years call them instant friends. So if you're maybe coming to Saskatoon for the first time, you don't know anyone, or maybe you're an international student traveling to Canada for the first time, this is your support group. They are in the same boat as you with first year engineering, and they can kind of be your friends and help you through first year engineering. In your second semester, you'll be put into a new study squad. So it's kind of nice at the end of first year, you'll have probably around 20 students you'll be quite close with from having your 2 study squads. Another kind of nice thing is you're put into a block cohort. So with your block, there's around 50 students in the block, and those 50 students you'll have all of your courses with together. So it's, even though, if you're maybe coming from a small rural school, maybe you came from a small class, you'll still have all of your classes with only around 50 people. So it's a nice transition compared to some of the students that are maybe arts and science. Every single class has a different group of students. So it's nice, you can kind of see some familiar faces. There's also the study sessions that you can attend. So those are Monday through Thursday, every single day, led by teaching assistants. And they'll offer tutorials on several subjects and classes. Unfortunately, last year, a lot of students didn't go to the study sessions. I mean, COVID made it a little bit tricky, but I highly recommend all of you to attend the study sessions. If you have any questions or even just want to kind of a structured time to do your homework, they're really great places to go and just get help. Another nice thing is our entire first year is taught by a team of professors. And a lot of those professors are actually the same people that designed Re-Engineered. So they're super motivated for you to do well. They're here to support you, and they're very, very invested in your success, the program success, and everyone doing well. So I remember last year, there was a few kind of glitches. Last year was our pilot with Re-Engineered. So there are some things that we realized that like some exams were a little too crunched. There's maybe a few assignments that were just too close together. And they talked to the students and heard how they were doing, and they made adjustments throughout the term to kind of accommodate what our students need. So if you're struggling, if you have any questions, if you need help, make sure to go talk to your professors, because they really genuinely care and they really want to support you. So don't hesitate to reach out. Don't wait till the last minute and it's too late to go talk to them. The first year team, all of your professors really, really care, and they really want you to do well. So don't be afraid to reach out and get help if you need it. Or if something's not clear, if you're not sure why you got a certain grade on a test, they're there to support and help you. So make sure to reach out. The other kind of group that is here to support you is our Engineering Student Center. So I can see that Tina has been typing away, busy in our chat. So Tina is one of our academic advisors, and she's part of a team of academic advisors that is here to help you. So advisors do a whole range of different things, but what impacts you is they can help you plan your degree and reach your goals. So maybe you're not sure what major is the best fit for you. Maybe you're not sure about the careers of the different disciplines we offer. You're not sure what classes you need to fulfill your degree requirements. And advisor is the first person you should go to. They can also help you with university and college policies and procedures. When you're a new student, it can be kind of confusing, all of the lingo and rules and policies. So if you need help, they're your people to talk to. Transfer credit, registration, application, they can help you with that. We also offer lots of awards, scholarships, and bursaries. So there's also continuing awards. So I'm sure lots of you guys got scholarships, or maybe you're still waiting to hear back from some awards you applied for. There's also continuing awards. So if you do really well in your degree, there's awards and scholarships you can continue to apply for throughout your degree. There's also study abroad and exchange. So actually in my undergrad, I got to do 2 different exchange programs, and they were fantastic, and I recommend all students to study abroad. It's a really, really amazing experience. And then finally, also mental health and wellness. So if there's kind of any issues in your life, or you're feeling stressed, make sure to go talk to an academic advisor. They can help you. They can provide you with resources and different things. So if you don't get anything out of my session today, I hope you get, if you need anything, make sure to reach out and talk to us, either the student center, your professors, the college, because we really do want to help you. We can only really help you if we know that that you need us. So if you want to get in touch with our front desk, you can email us, call us. We also have a front desk. So that picture there is our Engineering Student Center. You can drop in and chat with us if you need anything. All right, so another thing I've been getting lots of questions about is hardware. So we do have a lot of requirements for your laptop. A lot of these requirements are because you're going to be running some pretty heavy program, like CAD, for example, is one that is a pretty big program. So you need to make sure your laptop is powerful enough to run that. So if you're not much of a tech person, I would recommend printing this off and taking it to Best Buy or some sort of tech store to get help picking out a laptop. It has all the different requirements we need. Another thing to keep in mind is this is the calculator you need. And we do require you have this exact calculator. So make sure to get that calculator. You'll also need a scanner for some of your assignments, but that can actually just be a phone. You can just take a picture and export it to PDF. So another question I've been getting asked is, will this laptop last me throughout my degree? And yes, so we have some things listed in green here. So if you're considering computer or electrical engineering, obviously you'll be using your computer a lot. So if you are considering those majors at all, make sure to get these requirements just to make sure that your laptop will be sufficient for more programming, more programs that you'll need to be running on your laptop. So just make sure to keep that in mind if you're wanting to do computer or electrical engineering. Another question I get lots is, can I use Apple? Will my Apple computer work? And the answer is sort of, but no. So last year, there were some students that used Apple, but CAD was actually one of the biggest problems. CAD for Apple and CAD for Windows is a very different program. So our professors and faculty teach with Windows, and they only can help you with Windows. So if you're using an Apple computer, we can't offer you support. So unfortunately for those CAD programs, what you will need to do to complete your assignments and follow along with the instructions will be very different. So you're welcome to teach yourself if you want, but if you want to get support from our faculty, from our IT people, you'll need to have a Windows computer just so that we can offer you support, because programs like CAD are not the same on Apple. So we highly recommend to not have an Apple computer just because we won't be able to help you if you have issues, especially with CAD and some of your other programming assignments. So our next session, I believe it is on Tuesday, June 8th. We'll be talking a lot more about the co-op program. So we have 5 co-op students that are going to tell you about their experience with co-op. They're going to talk about some student groups and what it's like to be a USask engineering student. So if you want to learn more about co-op, go to our next UStart session because we'll talk a lot more about it. But just to kind of give you a quick overview for some of you who maybe can't make it, the wage for our co-op program in 2020 was about $50,000, which is awesome. It's a lot of money. Our co-op program is not competitive. So if you meet our average, which is, I believe, a 65, and you don't have any academic action or anything like that, like no cheating or anything like that, you'll be accepted into our program, and then you can apply for jobs. So we have an exclusive job board that you can apply for, and then you're also welcome to go out into the world and apply for jobs. So we have flexible term length. So you can work for 4, 8, 12, or 16 months. So you can work in January, May, September, and you can get up to 20 months of work experience. So that means that you can actually do more than one co-op, which is really cool. So some students will do a 4-month work option, and then they'll come back to school, and then they'll do a 16-month. Another nice thing is you get to work with a mentor. So this will be a professional engineer that you'll be paired with, and they can help you help answer questions. If you have anything in the workplace you need help with, whether it be engineering related or maybe interpersonal, they're your person that can help you. So we would just recommend all students to do the co-op program. It's so much easier to get a job. Once you graduate, when you have that experience, I know a lot of students often will get job offers after their co-op if they're hiring, and if the student likes the experience. And it's just a great way to network, make connections, and kind of build your resume. So here are some important dates to remember. So June 18th, which is coming up fast, is when first year registration opens. You should try to register on that day or as soon as possible, just because sometimes the blocks fill up pretty fast. So make sure to get on that and register. Early August is when the summer top-ups open. August is when residence moves in. USask orientation is August 31st this year. So that's where you can come before the first day of classes and get some more information, kind of like this today, but a lot more in detail and a lot more important when you're starting classes the next day. The first day of classes is September 1st, and there's Labor Day. September 29th is a deadline to pay tuition. Your fall midterm break is November 7th. December 16th is the last day of classes. So I see a question here is, where are most of the jobs located? In Canada, internationally, or Saskatchewan? So majority of our jobs are in Saskatchewan. About 75 to 80% of our jobs are in Saskatchewan. The rest, a lot of them are Alberta, as kind of the next most popular. And then you also can go internationally for the co-op. So we have had students go to the States. We've had students, I think this summer there's a student in Germany right now. So if there's an opportunity abroad that you really want to pursue, we can help you with that and help support you go abroad. Another question is, when and where will we be able to view the scheduled blocks? So they are available in the Discord, and we'll be emailing them very soon to everyone, and they'll also be posted on the website. All right, so class registration. So I would recommend to watch our tutorial on YouTube. It is very thorough. It'll show you exactly where you need to click, what it's going to look like when the registration opens. So make sure to watch that. It's going to be a lot more thorough than what I can provide today without having the system open. So make sure to watch that. It's on our YouTube channel. So if you just type into USask Engineering on YouTube, you'll be able to find it. It's also on our website. I just see a question in the chat. Will we need to wait till we have registered on our block before applying for student loans? Yes. So once you have registered for your classes, then you can apply for student loans. You can apply for access and equity services, all of those different things, but you need to be registered for classes before both of those. All right, so the first step for applying, registering for your classes is first you need to log onto PAWS. So back when you would have applied, you would have been emailed an NSID. So that'll be in the format of ABC123 and a password. You'll also want to update your password once you have that temporary password. So when you log into Pause, you'll get to a screen that looks something like this. In the top bar, you can type registration, and then you can click on this registration link right there. Once you click on that, you're going to get to a page that looks like this. So here, there's a few things you can do. You can browse for classes. This isn't very relevant for engineering students. If you wanted to add more classes, you can. I would not recommend adding more classes, but you can. Plan Ahead is a tool that other students on campus are going to be heavily relying on, but we make your blocks for you, so you can just ignore that. View your status. So this is where you can see if you're eligible to register, make sure there's no holds against your account, which as an incoming first-year student, you shouldn't have any issues with that. But if you do, let us know and we can help you. And then the most important, register for classes. So that's where you're going to want to click on June 18th. All right, so step 2 is you're going to want to select fall term. So here you're going to have to register for both fall and winter term classes. So you'll have to do the next process I'm going to show you twice, once for fall and then again for winter. So we're going to pretend you're registering for fall classes. So you'll hit fall and then hit continue. And then you'll be brought to this screen. So this is where I recommend watching the YouTube tutorial because you'll see what it's going to look like. So this is selecting engineering year 1, block 1. And it's going to look really confusing because it's going to show all the classes and labs that are associated with block 1. So all you need to do here is scroll down until you find the block you want. So for example, if I want a block 4, I would just keep scrolling and click on alternative block, engineering year 1, block 4. So then I would select the block that I want. The next step is a little tedious. I wish we didn't have to do it, but it's just part of the system. You're going to have to enter all of the start dates for the classes. So the easiest way to do that is to just copy the date and put it in here, or you can just hit click. Again, watch our YouTube tutorial. It'll make a lot more sense. But you're going to have to just kind of tediously go through and enter all of the dates. So it'll show you below, but the permitted date is October 18th. So you'll just have to type that in. So once you've done all of that, once you've confirmed all of your dates, then you can hit confirm. So on June 18th, there's going to be a lot of students across campus registering for their courses. So this can be a little slow. Sometimes the computer might seem like it's frozen or just stuck. Just leave it, just wait, don't hit too many buttons. It is registering for your classes, but it can take a little bit of time. So once you've successfully registered in your courses, you're going to see a screen that looks like this. So down here, you may be really confused that it looks like all of your classes are overlapping. They may look really confusing. That's normal. That's just because we have the modular courses. So for example, right here, that's the natural science series. It looks like they're all stacked on top of each other. That's fine. That's just because they have different start and end dates. So you can see here that you're successfully registered and you're good to go. So that's all you need to do to register for classes. But remember that you're going to need to register for both fall and winter term classes. So I see in the chat there's a couple questions. So are there elective classes? No. In first year engineering, you don't get any choices. We give you your entire schedule. In your upper years, there is some elective classes you'll get to choose, but in first year, everything is just given to you. Here are some frequently asked questions that I get. The first question I get lots is, how do I choose my classes? Just reiterating, you don't choose anything. So you will choose a block, but all the blocks are the same. And that block will contain all of the classes and all the labs that you need. Do I have to register for fall and winter term classes? Yes. Make sure on June 18th to register for both fall and winter term classes. How do I register for half speed? So on June 18th, If you're planning on doing the half-speed option, you're still going to have to register for a full block of courses. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to meet with an academic advisor, and they're going to put you into the half-speed option. So just make sure to register for a full block of courses, and then an advisor will help you move those. I don't have access to the registration channel on pause. So to have access to the registration channel, you must accept your offer admission. So you have to go back into your application and hit that you want to accept your offer and become a confirmed student, and then you'll have access to registration channel. If you've not done that, you will not have access to the registration channel. So if you want to check this out, I'd recommend before June 18th to just log on to pause and make sure that you can see that channel. Another question is, I'm hoping to get transfer credit for several classes. Do I still have to register for them? Yes, you will still need to register for a full block of classes, just like the half-speed students. Then you'll have to get your transfer credit evaluation. And then if it is approved, then an academic advisor can remove them. So we are going to be offering a registration help on June 20th. So your class registration is on June 18th. So the Monday following, we're going to have some sessions on Zoom. It's going to be breakout session with a waiting room. So we have this morning session, especially for international students. If you're overseas in a different time zone, we're hoping this will work for you. So there's going to be a session from 9 to 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, and then from 3 until 5. So if you have any issues with registering, any questions, if anything happens, this is where you can come get help for your registration if you need anything. You're also welcome to book an appointment anytime after, but our appointments do tend to fill up pretty fast. So this is a time that's just for you guys for registration help. So I see a question in the chat is, if you pick block 4 in the fall, do you have to pick the same block in the winter? Nope. So if you decide, if you look at the schedules, you could choose block 1 for fall and block 9 for winter. It does not matter at all. They're all going to be the same. So another question. So if everything is chosen for us, what's the disadvantage of not registering for classes as soon as possible? The disadvantage is we're looking like we're going to have a very full year. So if you don't register right away, you may have issues registering later. We may not have seats available if you wait until August to register for your classes. So to make sure that you get the classes that you need, and you get a schedule that you are happy with, even though they're all the same, but if maybe you really don't want to have math in the morning, make sure to register early. But again, we are looking like we're going to have a very, very full year with probably no seats available at the end. So make sure to register in those classes early to make sure that you get a spot. Are all the classes this year on campus or online? Everything is scheduled for on campus. So as long as the world doesn't end again, let's cross our fingers and hope that those days are done. Everything is scheduled to be on campus, and we'll be in the labs on campus in the lectures. Even this past year throughout the pandemic, our first years were on campus regularly. So expect, make sure to be in Saskatoon in September. All right, so access and equity services are something that you can apply for after you register for your courses. So access and equity services, they can do things like get you exam and academic accommodations. They can help with note-taking, alternative textbooks, classroom changes, assistive technology. There's a lot of different things that they can do. So the reason why I like to really point this out is I didn't really realize what was considered a disability by their standards. So they can help with things like ADHD, autism, health, chronic health issues, learning disabilities. There's a really long list on their website. But one thing that's really important to know is that if you have a temporary disability, so that would be something like a concussion or you break your arm, they can help you. So if you need an exam accommodation because you got a concussion, they're your people to talk to make sure you get the support that you need. So if you know that you're going to need some support, make sure to register with Access and Equity Services right after you register for classes. Just if they need some, it can take a little while if they need some documentation from you, but just make sure to apply for them if you need their services. All right, so some key academic policies. Academic integrity is super, super important. So every single year, even though we try to tell everyone that how serious cheating is, it always happens, but just don't do it. Academic integrity is so, so important and can really impact you for the rest of your career and can really come back to haunt you later on. So make sure to understand what academic integrity is and what it means, because it's very, very important. So make sure to read up about what it means. And essentially, if you're in doubt, if it is academic integrity, don't do it, or make sure to read about what exactly academic integrity is. Another policy that you really should read is the academic and promotion policy. So this is the policy that allows you to move from first year until second year. So essentially, what that comes down to is we need to make sure, because we are an accredited engineering program, that we need to graduate engineers that understand engineering. We really don't want engineers building bridges if they only understand half of how to build a bridge. That's not going to be safe for anyone. So just make sure to understand those policies and what it means, and especially for choosing your major, what you need to do to be able to move on throughout your degree. And then academic accommodation kind of ties back to the Access and Equity Services. So that just really essentially that policy saying how we can help you, how we can accommodate you, and we're really here to support you. So if you need anything, make sure to reach out and talk to us. So choosing your major. So I've heard some students will come to me as a first year student, say, hey, I'm in mechanical engineering. And well, actually, you're not quite in mechanical engineering yet. So first year engineering, you start in general studies, and then you get to do this course called the Discipline Experience, where you get to learn about all of the majors, and then you choose your major in March. So I have a little video to show you guys, to show you what that Discipline Experience course looked like this past December.
Programming this robot to move along a track.
So far, we've just programmed a few other things into the robot, like making it move.
It's got sensors on the bottom, and we're programming different checkpoints between the sensors to turn a certain amount when it deviates off the black line. So the Discipline Experience is a week long at the end of the term where we get to choose the disciplines we're most interested in, and we spend the day learning about what the average person does in that day,
What the field does, like what it involves, and get some experience hands-on before we enter our disciplines.
So far, we now know what we could do with this in the future, and even how much we get if we do it. So that's actually really cool, because now we know a lot more about it. I wanted to study computer engineering in the first place, and I think it just made me more convinced to actually study it, and just show me how cool it is.
We are in the Civil Engineering Discipline Experience, and we are building bridges.
We're trying to do a design of our own to try to hold 2 kilograms in every part of the bridge.
I'm a TA PhD student of mechanical engineering. Right now we are doing a course to measure the properties of the materials.
We're testing the deflection of steel, aluminum, and plywood. We're adding weights to them to see how much they bend.
I'm Robert Green. I'm a professor in the Department of Engineering Physics. We have them working at analyzing a new type of circuit device called a memristor, which we hope to use to build a new type of computing processor built to work more like a human brain.
What I like about the discipline experience in geological engineering is the fact that it's a lesser known engineering discipline. A lot of people don't know what geological engineering is.
And we're in electrical engineering discipline experience. And what we're doing here is we're changing the pulse modulation width of the LEDs to affect the brightness. So from the discipline experience, I've really enjoyed it because I get to see where my strengths and weaknesses are and how that applies to each of the disciplines. And I've really gotten a good idea of like what jobs you get. It really gives you a snapshot into each discipline. So you kind of have the day of the life of each of the disciplines in engineering, and you can really have a good idea of what you want to do.
So I've got my essay written, and I've been working on it for
All right, so that is a little snapshot into what your first year of engineering is going to look like. So if you want to kind of see some more videos to kind of get excited about your first year, check out our YouTube channel because there's a bunch of videos about what this past year looked like with first year engineering. So that's the course that you get to take to learn more about the different disciplines. So it's really great if maybe you have no clue which discipline you want to do. You'll get to spend a week learning about each of the disciplines you're interested in. So we're getting close to the end of our presentation here, but I want to talk about getting to campus. So this is a beautiful picture of our campus with the university hospital kind of in the background there. The best way to get to campus, I would recommend, is bus. So as part of a university student, you get a bus pass. It's part of your student fees with the student union. So that's just on your phone. If you kind of Google it, you can find out how to get that onto your phone. That's the best way to get to campus is with the bus. If you want to park, there are also some parking lots available. So if you're interested in parking next year, you must apply to the parking sale and pause. So to find that, the same way you find your registration channel, if you just type in parking into pause in that search bar, you'll get the parking sale. So it's open now, and it's open till I believe August 19th. So you can apply. It's $20 to apply. And what it's going to ask you is which lots you want to put your name in for. I would recommend Y and Q lot. Those ones are the closest to engineering. I also would recommend, if you are not interested in parking at, let's say, the S lot or stadium lot, do not put those on your application form. The reason why is if you just put, let's say, Y and Q and you don't get a spot, you can actually re-enter the lottery in early September and you'll likely get a spot. So you can re-enter the lottery and you'll probably get a spot, because a lot of students will enter the lottery and not claim their parking pass, so then you can re-enter it. However, if you let's say put Y, Q in stadium and you didn't get a spot, or you got a spot at stadium but you didn't want it, you wouldn't be able to re-enter the parking lottery. So make sure to just put up spots that you're interested in taking when you enter the lottery. So here's a little map of where Y and Q lot are in relation to engineering. So this is our lovely engineering building here. These are the other buildings on campus that you'll use lots. So the physics and geology building you'll use. These are Y and Q. The other lots across campus, you can't even see on the map because they're pretty far from engineering. So I wouldn't recommend parking there. I see some questions in the chat about parking. Do you need to park for residents? You are welcome to park. If you want to park with residents, you are actually guaranteed a spot, but you do have to pay for it. So it is an additional fee if you want to park on campus, but you will have to pay for that spot and you'll have to apply. All right, so just getting towards the end of our session here. Here is the checklist of the different things that you need to do. So first, attend UStart. ta-da, you accomplished something. So you are right now attending UStart, so great job. There's one more session that you can attend to talk more about the co-op internship program. So next on June 18th is when you're going to want to register for your class block. Make sure to to register in your classes as soon as possible, just to make sure that you get a seat. After you register for your classes, there's two things you can do if you need to. Is register for access and equity services, and you can apply for things like student loans, but you'll need to be registered in your classes first. Throughout the summer, I would recommend purchasing your laptop. So if you don't already have a computer, print off that tech sheet. We've emailed it to you. It's also on our website. So make sure you get your laptop. An important thing is make sure to send your final transcripts. So if you are currently in high school, you have likely been conditionally accepted. So that means we've accepted you based off of the transcripts we've seen, but we're still going to have to see your final marks. So for most students, they select for these to be automatically sent to us after your June exams. But if you didn't select that, or if there's issues, make sure to check up on your application in August to make sure we got your final transcripts, because there is really sad stories of students, they just never send us their documents, and we unfortunately cannot keep them as students because we have to see those documents for you to stay a student. Also in August is when you need to enter the parking lottery. So if you want to get a parking spot, you have to enter that lottery before August 20th. Make sure also before the first day of classes, get your student ID card, and make sure to get that bus pass on your phone if you're planning on busing. Fall is orientation. So you can come on August 31st to campus to learn more about your degree and get you ready to start your first day of classes. Tuition is due on September 30th. I would also recommend waiting to purchase any textbooks and software until that kind of early fall. Make sure to kind of talk to your professors about what they need for the class. Sometimes there's textbooks that are required and you need them, and sometimes they're just recommended textbooks. For software, sometimes we have student discounts available or student codes. So just wait until you get your syllabuses from your professors before purchasing those. And also in fall, I would recommend joining some student clubs, campus rec, intramural sports teams. It just is a really great way to meet friends and to build a community. All right, I'm seeing lots of questions in the chat, so I'm going to answer some of these. Who would we contact about double checking that final transcript sent? So you can check that yourselves. So if you go to apply.usas.ca, it's the same place that you would have accepted your offer. And in there, you'll be able to see that we received your final transcripts. So in that application is where you can double check in August just to make sure that we got those. We also, if we have not received your transcripts, we will send you many, many emails. So just make sure to check your emails, and if there is any issues, just to deal with it as quickly as possible if we don't have your documents. Can we register in classes before our final transcripts are sent? Yes. So if you're currently in high school, you are conditionally accepted. So that means, we've accepted you until we see those final documents, just to make sure that you passed, for example, pre-calculus and chemistry, those important courses. So you're a full student. We just have to see those transcripts just to make sure that you got the grades that you need to. When is the best time to get your student ID? It says before classes start, but how early? It really doesn't matter. If you're not from Saskatoon, you could probably do that on orientation day, or maybe during your residence move-in. If you're in Saskatoon or nearby, I would recommend coming maybe the week before classes and walk around. I'm pretty sure this year they've moved your student ID card. You can pick it up at the bookstore and do it all online. And they may even be mailing those. I'm not sure if they're doing that again this year, but it's very, very easy. If you do want to come to campus, it's a really nice time to just kind of walk around when campus is nice and quiet before classes start. What's a general idea of what we'll need to bring to class every day? Great question. I would recommend, of course, your laptop. If that's how you like to take notes, either on your laptop or maybe a notepad, an iPad, whatever kind of works for you, is what I'd recommend bringing. Textbooks, it really depends on the class. If you need your textbooks or not. Quite a few classes you don't actually need to bring your textbook to class, but again, your professor will tell you what is expected for that class. But they do use a lot of open source software and a lot of open source textbooks, so you won't need to be hauling around a physical textbook. And then of course, whatever else you want, like your lunch or water bottle. But the main thing, probably something to take notes, whatever that works for you in a laptop is the most important things. Another question is, will we get notified by email for each important step needed in case we forget something you said here? Yes, make sure to check your emails. Also make sure to check your junk mail and spam mail. Sometimes our emails go there just because we're emailing so many students this information. So stay on top of your email, make sure to check it. And if there's any kind of action items for you to do, make sure to take care of things right away. Don't leave them till you forget, just because some of these are kind of time sensitive. Does the transcript have to be sent by my school, or can I just send it myself? Your official transcripts do need to be sent by your school. For some international students, we may need to even see a physical copy just to verify that those are your transcripts, but those don't need to be your official transcripts. All right, another question. Do the different blocks have different professors teaching the classes? Sort of, and not really. So our first year teaching team is quite small. There's, I believe, maybe around 6 professors teaching a lot of our engineering courses. And each course only has 1 or 2 professors teaching it. So, and a lot of those teachers kind of share the course. So you may have a few different, it may switch professors midway through the term, they may pass it off. But for the most part, it's all going to be the same professors teaching each class. If we decide to go for half speed, will our first year take longer to complete? What's the difference in time compared to normal? Great question. So if you take the half speed, the first year will be twice as long. Unfortunately, unless you take the full speed, even if you did a full speed and a 3/4 or a full speed and any kind of coordination of the courses other than the normal full speed will take 2 years to complete first year. So if you do half speed, it will take 2 years to complete first year. All right, I've sent my final documents. I met the conditions, yet the USAS website says the conditions were not met. Is this a problem? Yes, I would recommend emailing admissions just to make sure what you need to do to clear that condition. So just make sure to follow up about that. All right, next question. If you have a scholarship because of your average and it goes down after the final transcript is sent, would your scholarship go down or would it still be accepted with a higher scholarship? So that really depends on the scholarship you received. For all of our scholarships that we offer at USAS, if your average goes down, but it is still above the minimum average for your program, you'll keep your scholarship. But if that's an external scholarship, I can't help you with that one. It'll depend on the terms of the scholarship. Another question, will we get lockers around the building? You can actually get a locker, and this through our student union, our SCSS is where you can get lockers. Another question, do we need to accept our offers to have access to our USAS emails? No, you don't need to accept your offer to have access to your USAS email. The easiest way to get into your USAS email is through PAWS. So if you log onto PAWS, and then you can type in email, and then you can click on that and it'll take you directly to your email. You can also set it up as an Outlook account. We have steps on our website on how to do that. Just it may be a little bit more confusing to do it that way. So I'm just gonna stop sharing my screen because you guys knew that we were in the Q&A session already. So I'm just gonna keep going through all these messages and trying to answer as many questions as I can in the next 15 minutes. So if you have any questions at all, just put them in the chat and I will do my best to get to everyone's questions. I see that also Tina is working hard, answering as many as she can as well. So thanks guys for being such an engaged group of students. All right, so I'm just going to stop sharing my screen. All right. All right, so next question I see here is, when do we find out what room we get or the exact room you selected? So I'm assuming that you are referring to residence. So the time that you can select for residence depends on when you applied for residence. So for example, if you were the first person to apply for residence, you would have gotten your room selection date probably in early May. And if you were one of the later people to apply for residence, you may be getting that offer now. So if you applied a little bit later, you'll be getting your room selection time probably in June sometime. And then you get a link where you can select your room. All right, looks like we got through most of the messages. All right, next question. If I already have an Apple laptop, are there any external resources that are available to overcome such as the programming issues, such as with CAD? One option I have heard, although I haven't personally ever done this, is you can download Windows onto an Apple computer and then use your Apple computer like a Windows computer. But I have not used that. So that's something that you could look into to make your computer work. All right, any other questions? All right, well, thank you so much, everyone. So me and Tina will stay around until 8:30, answering any of your questions. So feel free to put them in the chat and we will do our best to answer your questions. So thank you so much for coming and thanks for being such a engaged, great audience and asking so many great questions. And if you have any questions that, leading up to this event, make sure to email me. So I'm sure lots of you have been getting lots of emails from me anyways. So you can email me at engineer.recruit@ucess.ca and I'd be happy to help you out. All right, I see another question about the tuition fee. There's one in your offer letter. That one is just an estimate. I would recommend going to our website and seeing the updated tuition for 2022-2023. And that is based off of a full course load. So depending on how many courses you are going to take, it'll vary. But our website would be the most up-to-date place to have that. Another question is, which blocks have math in the morning? A lot of them have math in the morning. On our Discord is the only place we've posted the block schedule so far. So you can look through there to see when math is, but it may change throughout the year depending on the schedule, but you can find those. We'll also be emailing the block schedules shortly and also posting them on our website for you to see. All right, I see a question about access to email. I'm pretty sure you should have access to your PAWS email as an accepted student, but there are some other things. You only have partial access if you have not accepted your offer. So if you want to have full access to everything on PAWS, you need to accept that offer to have access to everything on PAWS. As an accepted student but not confirmed, you have limited access to everything. So if you want to have full access, make sure to accept your offer. When does the selection for blocks open for us? They will open on June 18th. But you can find the blocks in our Discord channel, and they'll be posted soon. Another question is, when is the move-in date? And for the rooms, I assume our student IDs open the doors. I'm pretty sure for residents, they will give you a special residence card, unless they've changed that to student IDs. But last I heard, you'll have a special residence card. The move-in date, residents will email that to you, but usually it's around August 30th. But just wait for that email from residents, and they'll tell you how to when you can move in. Another question is, how will we be able to access the summer top-ups when they come out? Great question. We will email you when the summer top-ups are available, and you will access your summer top-ups this very similar way you'll access your courses. So again, on Pause is where everything as a student will be likely through Pause of your email. So you can access those, and they'll just be little courses that you can take. But we will, once they're available, we'll email you very detailed instructions about how to access your summer top-ups. Another question is, should I register for classes before my visa decision? It's really up to you if you want to register for classes before your visa. Just make sure if you do register for classes and you receive a visa decision that you are not able to travel, make sure to get rid of all those classes to unregister. There has been issues with students forgetting to remove those courses, and then they unfortunately have to pay tuition if they wait way too late to remove those courses. So make sure it's really up to you if you want to register for classes or not, but make sure if you don't get a visa, to change those courses. Where would we go about getting the card? I'm assuming you mean a student ID card. You can order that through the bookstore, and again, I'm pretty sure it's through Pause that you can get that. But if you just type student ID card USAS in Google, you'll be able to find some information about how to get that. Will the winter blocks be posted on the Discord before the June course selection? Yes, our winter blocks schedule are just being finished up, so we'll probably have that out to you next week. First transfer students, when is the deadline to accept the transfer credits to be applied? For transfer students, make sure to send any kind of transfer course information to our advisors as soon as you can. So as soon as they send you an email, get them the course outlines that they need. And it's a lengthy process, unfortunately, for transfer credit. So the advisors will be in touch with you once they have once they've made a decision on those transfer courses, but they try to get them to you as soon as they can to make sure it doesn't impact any of your courses. All right, well, thank you so much, everyone. Lots of great questions. Yeah, great link that Tina just sent in the chat. For any international students joining us, make sure to book an appointment or attend a drop-in session with our International Student and Study Abroad Center. They can help you with any kind of study permit information, visa information, traveling to Canada, airport pickups. They do a whole host of different services. So if you have any questions, make sure to attend their drop-in advising. They're very, very helpful, very knowledgeable people, and they can help kind of with your transition. So make sure to chat with them if you need help or have questions. All right, is there any more questions before we close our session today? I'll just wait a few more moments before ending our session. But I want to thank Tina for helping me out so much with this session and answering your questions in the chat. And thank you to all the students that are joining us today. It's great that I got to meet some of you guys on Saturday. So I'm excited to see you guys in the fall again when you come to campus. If you are from Saskatchewan or Alberta or able to travel to Saskatoon, I'd really recommend coming to campus sometime this summer. It's really beautiful right now. It's really nice to just walk around and explore campus. So if you're in the area, make sure to come. All right, well, if there are no more questions, I'm going to end today's session. So thank you so much. This session is being recorded, so if you missed anything or want to go back and watch, we'll be posting this to our YouTube channel and emailing it to everyone who registered. So thank you so much, and I'm glad you all were able to join.